Everything in this universe has a life cycle. That is, nothing is immortal, and our cutting tool is not an exception to this. So, in this video, we will learn how to predict the life of a cutting tool using the Taylor tool life equation.
Hello students, before we start, here is a very important announcement. In the last few years, many students have requested me for a simple, clear and exam-focused book on metal cutting for GATE and PSU preparation. So from my years of experience in teaching manufacturing science, I have compiled everything in one place and launched our first book on metal cutting and machining for competitive exams. This book is very compact and has easy theory, solved numericals and MCQs from competitive exams like GATE, IAS, IS, etc. So you can find the entire ebook in the links provided in the description. Along with this ebook, there is another supplementary book which has short notes, revision cards, quiz cards, and a self-assessment test. To get these both at a discounted price, please check the description now. So let us now start today's video.
The Taylor tool life equation is a simple empirical relation to predict how long a cutting tool will perform without failing. So, a tool is said to have failed when the tip breaks or it becomes worn out and it cannot produce good surface finish on the machine parts. Usually in industries, the tool life is measured based on either of the following three criteria. First is the actual cutting time. It is nothing but the total time of machining performed by the tool in its entire lifespan. Next is the volume of material removed in its entire life. And the third criteria can be how many parts a tool can produce before it fails. But life of a cutting tool is a function of a number of parameters. Combining all the important factors, Taylor has given us this equation where V is equal to the cutting speed, T is the tool life, and N is the slope of the curve which depends on the tool material, and C is a constant which depends on the working condition. Let me tell you, this equation has not been derived theoretically, but it has been obtained by performing a series of experiments by Taylor. Now in the index, you can see a parameter n. This is a very important parameter. So let us try to understand the significance of n. Now if we rearrange this equation and if I replace v with y and t with x, then you can see that it takes the form of a rectangular hyperbola with n equal to 1. Since it is a rectangular hyperbola, so this curve will be similar to this. So let us assume this curve has been obtained for a particular tool material A. Similarly, for another tool B1, we will get a different curve of the same pattern. Now higher the value of n, more will be the slope of this curve. Now what is slope? Slope is nothing but the angle the curves makes with the x-axis. So in this curve, since theta 1 is greater than theta 2, so n of b will be greater than n of a. Now if we consider this table, we have different tools with different values of n. So if I plot the curves for each of these tools, I will get something like this. High speed steel, which has the lowest value of n, will have less slope, followed by carbide, and the maximum slope will be obtained in the case of ceramic, since the value of n for ceramic is the highest. Now another important thing in the Taylor equation is the constant C. C depends on the cutting conditions. That means whether you have used adequate coolant or not. So in this cutting speed versus tool life plot, you will see that for the same carbide tool, we have got two different curves for two different cutting conditions. So as the value of C2 increases, for the same cutting speed V, the tool life also increases. From this graph, you can see that T2 is greater than T1. Thus, we can conclude that tool life is directly proportional to the constant C, that is the condition in which you are doing the machining operation. Now, this hyperbolic form of the equation is very difficult to analyze mathematically. So, we will try to convert this equation into a linear form. For this, we will take log on both sides of this equation. So in the left hand side, it is in the form of log AB, which is nothing but log A plus log B. Now performing one more log function in the second term of the left hand side, it is in the form of log A to the power n, which is equal to n log A. Finally, keeping log V on the left hand side, we get this final equation. Now if you see this equation, it resembles the equation of a straight line, which is equal to mx plus c. So if I take a plot between log v and log t, we get the plots as straight line. Please keep in mind the slope of this plot is minus n here. Now, having said this, we need to take into account the limitation of this model, which is that the Taylor equation only takes into account the effect of cutting velocity, but in real life, tool life is a function of many other important parameters. So manufacturing engineers and researchers worked for decades on the Taylor's equation and have incorporated some changes to the main equation. One of the most widely used modified equation is this. Along with cutting velocity, the feed rate and the depth of cut has also been taken into account. Here, A and B are empirical exponents which depends on the tool material. Both these A and B are less than 1 and A is greater than B. So now if I arrange this equation in this form, keeping the tool life on the left hand side, and in the next step, if I transfer this exponent to the right hand side, the equation takes this form. Now if we shift the exponent n from LHS to RHS, notice the denominator. 1 by n will be greatest, followed by A by n and B by n, which signifies that cutting velocity is a dominant factor while determining the tool life, followed by the speed that you are giving and the depth of cut selected to do this machining operation. So this was all about the Taylor life equation. Please provide your feedback, questions, comments, motivations, etc. in the comment box. For more such videos, please subscribe MacVidya. Thank you.